Uh, we discuss about semiconducting material, then intrinsic semiconductor, extrinsic semiconductor, what is doping, okay, the operation of half-wave rectifier, then we proved efficiency of half-wave rectifier. Okay, so today we'll go for the operation of full-wave rectifier. Okay, so full-wave rectifier is classified into full wave center type rectifier and full wave bridge rectifier. Okay, so we'll see the operation of both and we'll find efficiency of full wave rectifier. Then we'll see ripple factor. Okay, so we know forward bias and reverse bias of diode. Okay, forward bias means it allows the current to pass in the circuit. In reverse bias, it doesn't allow to pass the current in the circuit. Forward bias, it is nothing but we are having the low resistance path. Reverse bias means having the high resistance path. Okay, so this is full wave rectifier. So center tap full wave rectifier. So it is called center tap because we have taken the tapping in the middle of this transformer. Okay, so suppose this is our 0 volt at center, then this is 9 volt and this is 9 volt. Okay, so we know we are giving here AC supply to the primary of transformer. Then according to the requirement, we are doing the step down here. Okay, here the winding is same. Then suppose we are keeping the sub magnitude. Okay, so during positive and negative cycle of this sinusoidal wave, this A and B point will behave as positive and negative terminal. Okay, so anyone can tell me how it will work this D1 and D2?
Whenever if we consider any terminal as positive and negative, for example, in an instant.
Okay, suppose we are giving this sinusoidal supply. Okay, so 0 to 180 we have positive cycle. Then what will happen for this A and B and A and
Sir,
X?
yes, sir. D1 will allow the current to flow through, and
Yes.
D2 will not allow the current to flow.
Uh, how?
Because then D1 would be in forward bias, and D2 would be in reverse bias.
In simple way, you can tell me what is the polarity of this A
A is positive,
and
and
B?
B is negative.
Okay, so during positive cycle, this A is positive, means you can say this is a forward bias, then positive is connected with positive, and this B is act as a negative. So negative is connected with positive. So your D1 act as a forward bias and D2 act as a reverse bias during positive cycle. Okay, so you can see the during when D1 conducts, so you can see this conventional flow of current through this load resistance. Okay, and when D2 act as a forward bias, then you can say this direction of conventional current. Okay, so uh, during the positive half cycle of secondary voltage, the end A of the secondary winding becomes positive and B is negative. So this makes the diode D1 forward bias and D2 reverse bias. So therefore D1 conducts while D2 does not. So the conventional current flow is through D1 load resistance RL, and the upper half of the secondary winding is shown this. You can see this during positive half cycle. Okay. And during negative half cycle, this A, this becomes negative, and B, this becomes positive. Now D2 act as a forward bias, whereas D1 act as a reverse bias. So you can see this flow of current. Okay. So in the during negative half cycle, the end A of the secondary winding becomes negative, and B is positive. Therefore, diode D2 conducts while D1 does not. So the conventional current flow is through diode D2, load RL, and lower half winding as shown by the arrows. Okay. So it may be seen that the current in the load resistance in the same direction for both half cycle of the input AC voltage. Therefore, DC is obtained across the load resistance RL. So the polarity of the DC output voltage across the load should not be noted. Okay, so during upper half we are getting output across RL. During negative we are getting output across RL by D2. So you can see the waveform of output in first positive act D1, during negative D2 act, then during positive D1, negative D2. So similarly it continues. Okay, so this is the waveform of full wave center tap rectifier. Okay, now what is peak inverse voltage? So peak inverse voltage is nothing but it is the peak inverse voltage of each diode is equal to the maximum secondary voltage of transformer. Okay, so you can see this. Here we have Vm, and here in lower arm we have Vm. So here this is a maximum voltage. So peak inverse voltage we are having 2 Vm. Okay, that is the voltage across this secondary winding. So suppose Vm is the maximum voltage across the half secondary winding. Then in the circuit, the instant secondary voltage reaches its maximum value in the positive direction. So at this instant, diode D1 is conducting while D2 is not conducting. Therefore, whole of the secondary voltage across the non-conducting diode. So consequently, the peak inverse voltage is twice the maximum value voltage across the half secondary winding. So it is called the peak inverse voltage, and that becomes equal to 2 into Vm. Now anyone can tell me this operation, how this diode will conduct as a forward or reverse bias by understanding half wave and full wave center tap. Just you have to show me the path, how it will act as a forward bias. I am giving AC supply to this primary of transformer. Then we are doing step down. Now we need to operate this diode in forward and reverse bias, and we'll have to get this output waveform. So this is your full wave bridge rectifier. So in the examinations, if you ask explain the operation of full wave bridge rectifier, then you can explain anyone. But if you ask particularly explain the full wave center tap rectifier, then you have to explain center tap. If asked full wave bridge rectifier, then you have to express this full wave bridge rectifier. Okay, so just read the questions carefully and accordingly just write the answer. So anyone can tell me what will happen during positive half cycle? This during positive half cycle, what will happen? You can tell me according to this output waveform. Here output waveform is given according to the conducting of diode. Yes, anyone?
Sir, current will flow through diodes D1 and D3.
Okay, means which path it will follow. Suppose this is my cursor. Okay, this so suppose during positive, this P is positive, Q is negative. Okay, so from the P, suppose I am coming here at this node, then it will go through D1, then D1 to
D2.
but D2 is reverse bias, so it will not flow this D2 path.
Its current will be earthed through point A.
Yes, D1 to this point A and this ground, and you can see this ground point is also here, so it is common. So this ground to this point RL, RL to point B, then it will
Then
follow
through
which path?
D3.
Okay, D3. Then D3 to this point. Okay, now tell me which path it will follow after this, after D3?
Then again D2.
D2. So you need to write 3 diodes conducting, D1, D2 and D3. So anyone can tell me the reason? Here only 2 diodes are written, but here we have D1, D3 and D2 is also forward bias. So where it will go from this point? Anyone have answer for this? We have to conduct only 2 diode only, D1 and D3. But here D2 is also forward bias. So yes, obviously it will follow, current will also follow this path also. But the current will follow this path only, this Q. But what is the reason why current will not follow this path, even though it is forward bias? From the point P, D1, A, this ground, RL, B, D3, and here. Anyone have answer for this? Why it will not follow this D2 path? As we know, how current flowing in the circuit? Higher to lower potential or lower to higher potential?
Higher to lower.
Yes.
Higher
So
to
yes, at point A, as in beginning, we know at A we have higher potential, but as current flowing in the circuit, so there is the some drop. Okay. So at this point we have due to having the drop, this voltage level here it becomes lower. Okay. So here we have higher and here we have lower potential. So due to that, current will not flow from lower to higher potential. Okay. So that's why it will not follow this D2 path, even though it is forward bias. So that's why current will go to this Q end, negative end. Are you understanding? Why it follow this D1 and D3 path only?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so during positive half cycle, we have only D1 and D3 conducts. So you can see this waveform. And during negative, so this P becomes negative, Q becomes positive. So just tell me the direction of current. Q, then this node, then
D2,
D2, then
then earth head through B.
yes, earth to this, then this RL to this B, and now
D4.
yes, D4. Why not D3?
Same reason that we have.
Yes, same region. Yes, here we have lower potential and here we have higher potential. So that's why it will follow this D4 path and this P. Okay, so positive to negative. Uh, so it will complete the whole circuit. So this is the conducting of D1 and D3, D2, D4, then it will continues D1, D3, D2, D4. Okay, so when you explain this, you need to draw this diagram. Okay, circuit operation is given in the diagram, but it's okay if you are not expressing this by diagram, but if you express in the words, okay, how this D1, D3, D2, D4 are conducting. So in the operation, the positive half cycle of secondary voltage, the NP, the secondary winding becomes positive and the NQ is negative. So this makes diode D1, D3 forward bias while D2, D4 reverse bias. Therefore, only D1 and D3 conducts. These two diodes will be in series through RL. Okay, so the conventional current flow that is given by the dotted line here. Okay, this P, D1, this A grounded, this A to B. D3 and this. Okay, so this reason is not given, but you need to remember this, why it is not follow. Okay. During negative half cycle, the secondary voltage means P becomes negative, Q becomes positive. So this makes D2, D4 forward bias, whereas D1, D3 reverse bias. Okay. So therefore only D1 and D2 and D4 conduct. Therefore two diodes will be in series through the load resistance RL. The current flow is given by the solid arrow. Okay. So this is the working of full wave bridge rectifier. Okay, so anyone having doubt? So if you ask any operation, half wave rectifier, full wave center tap rectifier, full wave bridge rectifier, okay, any of the questions out of these three you will be asked in examinations. And I hope all of you will write the correct answer. Means circuit diagram, this operation, this waveform, input waveform, this output waveform is compulsory. Okay, if you draw this properly, then examiner will understand you know all the things. Okay, so diagram is compulsory. So if diagram is compulsory, from that you can express. Okay, so we do not need to write in detail. If you have drawn correctly, then we'll understand uh, you have written almost correctly. Okay, we are reading, but we are not reading in detail. If you have expressed this or draw properly. Okay, so anyone having doubt regarding to this operation, full wave center tap, full wave bridge rectifier? Okay, in practicals, you will get this waveform in oscilloscope CRO. Okay, so on Saturday, you are having any schedule on this Saturday? So we'll do some practicals. I have some
Sir, can you
videos.
repeat?
During this Saturday, you are having any schedule? You are having any extra lecture or any?
Sir, actually, we don't know that right now. We'll know that one day before Saturday.
Okay. If you are free, then I'll inform you. Means I will arrange some lab schedule on this Saturday. Okay, I have made some videos regarding to the practicals, so I will show you. Okay, I will share manual as well as this video, and whatever output I have got during practicals, that I will show you. Okay. So this is the peak inverse voltage. Okay, output frequency of full wave rectifier. So this is the full cycle, but if cycle repeats, then it is also called the full cycle. So the output frequency of full wave rectifier is double the input frequency. Why? Because the waveform is repeats. Okay. So remember that means we know wave has a complete cycle when it repeats the same pattern. When a wave has complete cycle when it repeats the same pattern. So the input AC completes one cycle from 0 to 360 degree. However, the full wave rectified wave completes two cycle in this period. Okay, you can say this 0 to 180 and 180 to 360 degree, but it repeats the same kind of waveform. So however, you can say this full wave completes the two cycles in this period. So for this, we have frequencies 50 Hertz, so it becomes double for the full wave rectifier. So here the output frequency is twice compared to input frequency for the full wave rectifier due to having the same pattern of waveform for the full wave rectifier. So F out is equal to F into in. So here for the full wave rectifier, the frequency becomes double, that is 100 Hertz. If we are having this 50 Hertz, then it is 100 Hertz due to having similar pattern. So you need to remember for half wave, F out is equal to F in, whereas for full wave, F out is equal to F in due to having the similar waveform pattern. Now calculation of, okay, if you ask the expression, explain the operation of full wave bridge rectifier and uh, also calculate or also derive efficiency of full wave rectifier, then you need to write both the answer. Okay, don't write only the operation. Okay, so suppose both ask in 5 or 7 marks, then half of the marks will be divided, 3.5 for the operation, 3.5 for the efficiency, or 2.5 for the operation, 2.5 for the efficiency. Okay, so sometimes you assume that I have written all the things, but you are just making this mistakes, means just you have written the half of the answer, and due to remaining of this half of the answer you will get the low marks. Okay, so this is the waveform of input. Now due to conducting of diode we are getting this kind of waveform. Okay, so this is the input voltage and this is the input output current I versus T. Okay, so this is the integral portion of taken for to get the average value of this. So let V equal to Vm sin theta. Okay, that is the applied voltage. RF, that is forward internal resistance of diode, and RL is load resistance. Okay, so we know the I is equal to V by R. So V by RF plus RL. V is equal to Vm sin theta upon RF plus RL. So now to get the DC output, we know the efficiency is equal to DC output power upon AC input power. So we have to get first this DC output power, IDC is equal to I average. So for this we'll get by the same procedure average area under the cycle divided by length of the base over cycle. So for this full wave we'll get IDC is equal to 2 Im by pi. Okay, so we'll get this is the average value for full wave rectifier. Okay, so DC output power, that is PDC, is equal to I square into RL. So 2 Im square by pi whole square into RL. Okay, so this derivation you know. Okay, so that's why it is written directly. For half wave we are getting Im by pi. Now full wave we have 2 Im by pi due to having the repetitive cycle. So the AC input power is given by PAC is equal to I square into R. So I square RMS in bracket RF plus RL. So for full wave rectified wave we have IRMS is equal to Im by root 2. So substitute this in this equation. PAC is equal to Im by root 2 square RF plus RL. So full wave rectifier efficiency is PDC upon PAC. So PDC is equal to 2 Im by pi whole square into RL divided by in bracket Im by root 2 whole square into RF plus RL. Okay, so it is equal to 8 upon pi square into RL divided by RF plus RL. So we'll get 0.812 RL divided by RF plus RL. So by rearranging the equation, we have 0.812 upon 1 plus RF by RL. So the maximum efficiency of, if we ignore this RF is negligible compared to this RL, then the efficiency of full wave rectifier that becomes 81.2%. Okay, so this is the double compared to the half wave rectifier. So that's why for the AC to DC conversion, we are prefer full wave rectifier over half wave rectifier. Okay, so anyone having doubt regarding to this derivation of full wave rectifier? In full wave in efficiency, we are just finding DC power and AC power. Okay, so for that we are finding average value of current in both the case, and we are substituting, and we are getting this efficiency. Okay, according to the power equation, P equal to I square into R, where I is nothing but we are getting from this. Okay, in AC we have this RMS value and this average value. Due to having this, we are considering this equation. Now we know in half wave and full wave we are getting the pulsating DC. So pulsating DC, it is nothing but it is having AC as well as DC component. Okay, but to get the pure DC, we need to remove this AC component. Okay, but due to having this AC and DC component, it is called the ripple factor. So anyone can tell me ripple factor should be low or high to get pure DC?
It should be low.
It should be low, yes. So that we need to filter. Okay. So ripple factor is nothing but the output of rectifier consists of DC component as well as AC component. Okay, so known as ripple. So the AC component, it is undesirable. Okay, we do not need, so it is undesirable and account for the pulsation in the rectifier output. So the effectiveness of rectifier depend upon the magnitude of AC component. Okay, in the output. So smaller this component, the more effective is the rectifier, means more effective the output or efficiency, or we can say pure DC. So it should be smaller as possible. We have this AC component. So you can see this due to having the ripple factor, you can see this is the zero line. Okay, it is not visible here. I versus T graph. So 0. So due to ripple factor, it is above the 0 line. So we have this AC component and this dotted line is DC component. Okay. So this ripple are having the 100 hertz ripple due to this pulsation. So the ratio of RMS value of AC component to the DC component in the rectifier output is known as the ripple factor. So ripple factor is RMS value of AC component divided by value of DC component is called the ripple factor. So therefore ripple factor is very important and deciding effectiveness of rectifier. The smaller the ripple factor, the lesser the effective of AC component, hence more effective is the rectifier. So in the mathematical analysis, the output current of rectifier contains DC as well as AC component. The undesired AC component has a frequency of 100 Hz, double the frequency of 50 Hz and is called ripple. So it is a fluctuation of superimposed on the DC component. So you can see this DC and over we have this AC component. So by the definition, the effective value of total load current is given by IRMS is equal to under root of I square DC plus I square AC. So I can write IAC is equal to under root I square RMS minus I square DC. So dividing throughout by IDC, we get IAC by IDC is equal to 1 upon DC under root of I square RMS minus I square DC. Now we know IAC upon IDC is a ripple factor, so it is equal to 1 upon IDC into under root of I square RMS minus I square DC. By rearranging the equations, under root of in bracket IRMS upon IDC whole square minus 1. Up to this, any doubt? So ripple factor we are getting here under root of IRMS upon IDC whole square minus 1. For half wave rectifier, we know IRMS is equal to Im by 2 and IDC is equal to Im by pi. So substituting in the equation, Im by 2 upon Im by pi whole square minus 1 is equal to 1.21. So we are getting 1.21 ripple factor for half wave rectifier. So it is clear that AC component exceeds the DC component in the output of half wave rectifier. So this results in greater pulsation in the output. Therefore, half wave rectifier is ineffective for conversion of AC into DC due to having this high ripple factor. For full wave rectification, we know IRMS is equal to Im by root 2 and IDC is equal to 2 Im by pi. Substitute in the equation of ripple factor, So we are having 0.48 ripple factor. Okay. So this shows that output of full wave rectifier, the DC component is more than AC component. So consequently, the pulsation in the output will be less than in half wave rectifier. So for this reason, full wave rectification is invariably used for conversion of AC into DC. Okay. So one example is given: a power supply delivers 10 volt DC with a ripple of 0.5 volt RMS, while the power supply B delivers 25 volt DC with a ripple of 1 millivolt RMS. Which is the better supply? So here two power supply are given, okay, and for both ripple are given. So we need to uh, select. We need to find which power supply is better. So for the power supply A, ripple factor is, we know, Vrms upon Vdc, okay, Vsc upon Vdc. So for the first case, this VAC or VRMS is given 0.5, okay, divided by this VDC is given 10 volt into 100, okay, so that is 5%. For power supply B, VAC upon VDC, so it is given 1 milliwatt, so 0.001 upon 25, so it is 0.004%. So for power supply B, this ripple is given very small, 1 milliwatt, whereas for power supply B, for power supply A, it is given 0.5 watt, so it is higher compared to this B. So power supply B is better compared to A. Okay. Okay. Any doubt? Any query regarding to this full wave operation, full wave frequency calculation, ripple factor? Anyone having? Okay, so when you consider this diode, then the equivalent circuit that should be like this. Okay, suppose this is forward voltage across this diode, then it is having this. Okay, it is allowing this forward current. Okay, as well as we need to consider this internal voltage, means this V0 is nothing but it is called the potential barrier voltage. Potential barrier voltage means it is nothing but to break the depletion layer. Okay, so after the breaking of depletion layer, this diode that act as a forward bias. Okay, and there is transfer of electron and holes. So in the internal equivalent circuit of diode, we are having this IF, this potential barrier V0, and this forward resistance of diode RF. Okay, so this is your whole VF. So VF is nothing but V0 plus IF into RF. Okay. So internal drop of diode, that is IF into RF, and this potential barrier, that is V0. Okay. Now to break the depletion layer, for silicon diode we need 0.7 volt. For germanium diode we need 0.3 volt. Okay. Okay, so you can consider this VF, forward voltage across diode, V0 plus IF into RF. V0 is nothing but potential barrier, and IF into RF is nothing but drop across the diode, internal drop of diode. Suppose one example is given here. An AC voltage of peak value. Okay, it is peak value is given, means maximum value is given. Okay, anyone can tell me, suppose I have RMS value of 230 volt, then what will be the maximum value?
30 into root 2.
Yes, 230 into root 2. So it is equal to
325.26.
yes. So for the 230 volt supply, this 230 volt is RMS value, whereas 230 into root 2 is it is the peak value of the circuit. Oh, so peak value and RMS value is different. So here peak value is given, so peak to peak value is given, so plus 20 and minus 20 is connected in series with a silicon diode and load resistance of 500 ohm. If the forward resistance of diode is 10 ohm, find out peak current through diode and peak output voltage. What will be these values if the diode is assumed to be ideal? Okay, so two cases are given. In the first case, according to the given data, we need to find, and in ideal case, we need to assume this V0 and all. Okay, for the ideal diode, we'll be having the zero value for these parameters. So we have to get this peak current and peak output voltage. So the circuit is given. We are giving the input peak value of 20 volt as a Vin to this diode, and we know it is given silicon diode. Okay, so this diode that is given by switch, and we are having this potential barrier voltage V0 equal to 0.7 volt for silicon. Okay, and 10 ohm, that is internal resistance RF, that is given forward resistance of, and this 500 ohm, that is load resistance, that we can measure output voltage. Okay, so this circuit is converted into this, okay, by this VF voltage across this diode. So diode, it is act as a switch, this V0 potential barrier of diode, and this RF forward resistance of diode. So peak input voltage 20, forward resistance 10, load resistance 500 ohm, potential barrier 0.7 volt. Okay. Now, first peak current through the diode will occur at the instant when the input voltage reaches positive peak. Okay. When we find this peak current, when the input voltage reaches to this positive peak, so Vin is equal to Vf is equal to 20 volt. Okay. So this peak value when we get when this input voltage becomes 20 volt, that is Vf is equal to 20 volt. So Vf is equal to, we know, V0 plus If into R. Okay, so V0 plus If peak into Rf plus RL. So by rearranging the equation, If is equal to Vf minus V0 upon Rf plus RL. So 20 minus 0.7 upon 10 plus 500. So it is 37.8 milliampere. And peak output voltage V0 is equal to I into R. So If peak into RL. So If peak is equal to 37.8 and RL is equal to 500. So 18.9 volt. Okay. Now for the ideal diode, we know this V0 equal to 0 and RF equal to 0 for ideal diode. So Vf is equal to I into RL. So If peak is equal to Vf by RL. So that is 40 milliampere. And peak output voltage I into RL. So that is 40 into 520 volt. So you can say this ideal value and this practical diode value. So it is nearly okay. So in comments you can see in above example the output voltage is nearly the same whether the actual diode is used or the diode is considered ideal. Here we are having 37, here 40, 80.9, 18.9 and 20. So this is due to the fact that input voltage is quite large as compared with V0 and voltage drop in RF. So therefore nearly the whole input forward voltage, this Vf, appears across the load. For this reason, diode circuit analysis is generally made on the ideal diode basis. Okay, so whole input forward voltage that act across the load resistance. We are considering this practical or ideal diode, also we are getting the nearly value. Suppose this is the second example is given. Find the current through the diode in the circuit. Assume the diode to be ideal. Okay, so first circuit is given in the circuit V is equal to 10 volt given, 50 ohm given for R1, this R2 5 ohm, and this diode is given. So we need to find voltage across this diode. Okay, now suppose we are using this Thevenin's theorem. So in Thevenin's theorem, what we are doing to find the current in the diode? So E0 that is your Thevenin's voltage. So that is your open circuited voltage across this point AB with diode removed. So when we use this Thevenin's theorem, this your circuit diagram 1 is replaced by this circuit diagram 2. Okay, according to Thevenin's theorem. So in the second circuit, this E0, you can see this 0.909. Okay, that is your open circuit voltage when AB with this diode removed. So you can find out this R2 upon R1 plus R2 into V. So 5 by 50 plus 5 into 10. So that is 0.909 watt according to Thevenin's theorem. So this E0 equal to 0.909 volt. R0, that is Thevenin's resistance. So it is equal to resistance at terminal A and B with diode removed and battery replaced by short circuit. So we can write R0 is equal to R1 into R2 upon R1 plus R2. So it is 4.55 ohm. So this R0 equal to Thevenin's resistance 4.55 ohm. So here we have E0, R0, and here diode is given. So we need to find this current through diode. So according to I equal to, okay, V by R. So E0 by R0. So it is 0.909 upon 4.55. So that is 0.2 ampere or 200 milliampere. Okay. So for this Thevenin's theorem, we are just finding this open circuit voltage for this A and B, and this for the resistance, we are considering this short circuit. Okay. So for E0 equal to R2 upon R1 plus R2 into V. So it is nothing but you already applied this voltage divider rule. Okay. And R0 is equal to R1 into R2 upon R1 plus R2 by considering the short circuit. So it is given 4.55 ohm. Okay. Okay. So up to this, any doubt? Okay. Filter circuit, that is not in your syllabus, but just I am showing you how we are removing these ripples by using this L and C component. Okay. So a filter circuit is nothing but it is a device which removes the AC component of rectifier output but allows the DC component to reach the load. So we know I explained already C and L equation. Okay, that X is equal to 1 upon omega C and XL is equal to omega L. Okay, so if you are considering this frequency value, okay, so that capacitor that blocks DC current, whereas inductor that blocks AC component. So according to that, by arrangement of L and C, you can remove this AC and DC component. Okay, so here in filter we need to remove this AC component. So by arranging this L and C arrangement, you can use this filter circuit. Okay. So just we are removing this AC component of rectifier by using this filter circuit by arranging this inductor and capacitor combination. Okay, so anyone having doubt regarding to this? Okay, filter is nothing but it is a combination of inductor and capacitor. The filtering of L and C depends upon the basic electrical principle. Capacitor passes AC, but it does not pass DC. So on the other hand, inductor opposes AC, but allows DC to pass. So it then becomes clear that the network of L and C effectively remove the AC component and allowing the DC component to reach the load. Okay, so any doubt up to this? Anyone? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, no doubt.
Okay, so in next lecture, we'll see what is Zener diode and the application of Zener diode as a voltage regulator or voltage stabilizer. So that we will see. Okay. After this, we'll move to the transistor CCBCC configurations, and we'll find some parameters in all three configurations. Okay.